The true story of the Maltese falcon. Well, like I said, I am LS, Lucifer Star, and a lot of my stuff was very much old and stuff like that. Anyway, and I had been doing some foundry stuff, and stuff like that. And so I had we did a lot of foundry stuff, and the Maltese Falcon I don't believe looked like the ones that they have presented now. It was a very intricate and very beautiful bird or something like that, and looked really nice. And it was very complex. Anyway, though, it was kind of like a work of art, actually, like how intricate and everything else like that. Some sculptor had spent over a year or longer, or quite a bit of time, making this mold or making these molds. Anyway, though, and I think they were made out of something like uranium or something like that, so they were indestructible or something, or some hard metal or something that could take high heat, so you could stamp out a few of them. Anyway, though, I forget what the deal was exactly with them. Anyway, though, one was made out of silver, one was made out of gold, and we made them out of a couple different metals. I think there might have been 6 of them. I don't know. I just remember the gold one, the silver one, and also, like I said, there was a uranium one, and I don't know, maybe even the thorium one. There were 5 of them or 6 of them. I forget. Anyway, there were a couple of them though. Anyway, though, and you could request them, actually. I mean, you could, certain people could get access to them if you were a verified whatever, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, though, so, because it was a priceless artifact, or relic. It was like a couple thousand years old when JFK or Nixon found out about it. So anyway, so they requested the gold one, then they requested the silver one and brought it back and stuff like that. And I don't really know exactly what the deal was, but basically they're solid gold and solid silver, and I guess kind of valuable, I suppose. Mostly they just looked really good. Anyway, though, so these kids, Nixon, JFK, someone, they wanted to make a movie about it, or they came up with this idea of making a movie about the Maltese Falcon. Anyway, and then they used the excuse of, well, they had to paint the Maltese Falcon because it was too glary with the camera, so they painted them black, and then they gave them back. And when they came back, they were actually because one of them was black or something like that. The uranium one was black. Anyway, and it said metal unknown, and so they didn't really know what it was. So anyway, though, the point is, though, they went and got some lead and made a mold that looked similar mostly to the Maltese Falcon, and then gave them back. And gave them back as lead, and then basically took the gold and the silver and melted it down into coins or something like that, and sold that. So anyway, and they tried cutting or sawing on the uranium one, but they couldn't, because like I said, the temperatures required to melt uranium is like really high, like 7 or 15,000 degrees or a couple 100,000 degrees. It takes a lot of heat to melt down uranium. You can take a torch to it all day. It won't melt. It won't change. It'll just be like, what? You want something? Anyway, though, uranium is one of those metals where it takes a lot of heat. You can absorb a lot of heat, and basically it expends a lot of heat. Anyway, it's very, 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 very tough metal. It does not burn unless it's in very thin strips or something like that. Anyway, though, really, really good stuff. Anyway, though, so basically, at least I'm pretty sure, unless it was thorium, I don't know. Anyway, though, the one I had, though, was really tough. Took a lot of heat to actually be able to do anything with it, and it was very much radioactive. They weren't actually supposed to get that one. Like I actually said, no, they can't get that one because that one's dangerous. And then eventually, I think they did get it or somehow, or they had stolen the other ones. I was like, okay, give them the uranium one. Anyway, they really wanted the uranium one, the radioactive one. So I don't really know why. Like I say, we were trying to find the other ones. We were wondering, mostly because they were priceless artifacts, pretty much. and we put it out in the newspaper where the Maltese falcon, we wanted to know where they were, because they had been stolen, and it turned out they had actually melted them down already and turned them into coins or something like that, or just blocks of gold. Anyway, though, they had already destroyed them. Rampant basically theft and whatever. Anyway, though, so we gave them the uranium one. And it's a really intricate bird. It's not at all like the one they have is like really simple and bland and all that. And anyway, though, and ours was really intricate and really nice and beautiful. So anyway, point though is that they put it on a shelf and it sat in a dorm room. And after about a month or two of them being around it, they lost their hair. And then after about 6 months, they were getting sick from it. So anyway, it was radioactive and very dangerous to actually be around. Enough so that you'd lose your hair. Anyway, I think they were using lots of drugs at the time too, so they didn't really notice. They thought it was just the drug use or something like that, or that made them sick or something, or they were coming down from massive hangover. I mean, they were always drunk or always high, Anyway, though, I don't really know the exact details of it. I just know that JFK, Richard Nixon, they did the Maltese Falcon film, which was this crappy film and really, really stupid, really. And supposedly it was a cult classic, but it wasn't really. They were just stealing the gold and basically melting it down. Anyway, and then they went up to a bunch of black people or whatever and it shows a black person going, the Maltese Falcon. I don't know where it is. Anyway, but they did know where it was, of course, because they had melted it down. Anyway, though, but they couldn't melt down the uranium one, and basically it just sat on the dorm room. So, irradiating people. So anyway, years went by, and I still don't know where it went, or I don't think they ever did recover it. But somebody took it off the mantle finally, because it's radioactive. It was dangerous to be around. Like I said, after about 30 days or so, they lost their hair of being around it. It was very, 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 very dangerous. Anyway, they thought, whatever. Anyway, we were more worried about them than we were worried about like the gold. Like the value of the gold was nothing really. But anyway, whatever. Anyway, though, but that's what happened to the Maltese Falcon. They stole it and they ended up inside of a dorm room and where Nixon or JFK hung out or somebody hung out, and basically it was inside the dorm room and they lost their hair. And then they got really sick about 6 months later or something like that, because it was still very radioactive. Anyway, yeah, and I think it took them years to figure out that it was actually dangerous. So a lot of people got radiation damage and didn't even know it from being inside the room. And Nixon or somebody was like, "It's the cursed room." Anyway, so. And it was kind of like the girls didn't really notice it because the girls didn't really come over or spend that much time there. They didn't lose their hair, but the guys lost their hair and stuff like that. It was prolonged exposure to it that would do it. Anyway, whatever. But that's what happened to the Maltese Falcon. It was a stupid movie, and basically Richard Nixon, John McCain, and they were planning on killing Germany anyway or attacking Germany anyway, so they didn't really see it as a problem to steal these things. And I don't really care, it was just a stupid bird that was like 1,000 years old or something like that. It was just a rare artifact, back from my glory days or whatever. So anyway, it was just kind of funny because they thought I was worried about it for the money. It's like, no, it's dangerous. But whatever, go ahead and keep it. I was like, go ahead and keep it. Go ahead, please, rub it all over you. Enjoy it. It's friggin' radioactive. And well, it is incredibly dangerous to be around. But okay. Anyway, some 1,000 years later, I mean, we'd actually check. We were actually checking the decay. We actually used the uranium Maltese Falcon to check the decay of radiation on uranium. We just check it like every 1,000 years or every 500 years. Just check it. Okay, yep, it's still radioactive. Anyway, so it really didn't change much over 1,000 years or something like that. And eventually it did kind of cool off for a little bit. Enough so that wasn't all that bad. You would just lose your hair or something. But it was at one point in time, it was extremely radioactive. Anyway, so whatever. Hey, they made a movie. They lost their hair. Then they probably got sick from radiation poisoning.